Hello, LEC community. Thank you for being with us for another nomination or nominee spotlight for Latinx Educator Awards 2023-24. My name is Susana Elizarraz, and I'm the Deputy Director of the LEC, and I'm so excited to be here with an old friend, Dr. Villarreal. How are you?
Doing well, actually, really excited of being here, and I know it's amazing to just be here again with all of you in LEC.
Yeah, congratulations on your nomination for Educator of the Year.
It's quite overwhelming, to be honest. Yeah, it's really I'm really excited about this opportunity.
Good, good. Well, Dr. Villarreal, the fun part is that you and I have known each other maybe a couple of years now, but we've never met in person. So we're going to have to change that very soon.
I know, very soon, very soon.
Well, let's get started. Dr. Villarreal, obviously, you're doing amazing work. It's being noticed. And we are wanting to share your story with the LEC community. So tell us about you, your story, and your journey to being where you are.
All right, so how should I start? Well, right now I'm a father of three. I have a 6-year-old and twins. They're two. That's why I look a little bit older right now. But I'm a proud father. I'm also a proud teacher of amazing students. I have over 125, 130, and each one of them bring me a different story that sometimes they just wanted somebody else to hear it. But my story personally, I came from Peru. I came to this country when I was 19 years old, and the only word that I knew was hello. So it took me a while to learn the language, learn the culture, learn the to assimilate to the new country. And I went to community college, and yeah, it was a difficult transition for me. I remember working in sales for many years as a busboy, working as a waiter. Retail, like I think most of us actually have gone through. But yeah, I always remember where I came from, which is Peru. I'm from Callao, which is the port of Lima. We are well known for the salsa, for the food, and all of that. So that's a little bit about me and my journey when I came to this country.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Villarreal, I know you're here now. Where in the US are you?
I'm in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Well, we're
Yeah.
gonna have to meet each other in Peru maybe, and you'll show me around.
Oh, that'll be good. That'll be good. I mean, I'll put the food.
Yes, I would love that.
It's difficult now with our kids. You know, they're very little, but we
Yeah.
can make it work. We can make it work.
Yes. Yes. We are traveling with our kids to Mexico this summer, so we'll see how that goes. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, let me know. I'm not prepared for that yet. We're outnumbered, so it's very difficult.
I get it. I get it for sure. Well, I'm so excited to be here with you. You're here today with us because you were nominated as Educator of the Year. How do you feel about that?
As I mentioned before, it's really overwhelming. I actually didn't know that I was nominated until I received the email. And the first thing, what was the first thing I did? I think I yelled, and my song was like, "What happened?" I just got an email, I got nominated. Nominated for what? Latinx Educator of the Year. And what is that? He started asking me questions. He doesn't know many things yet, and I just didn't know how to react. So it's really amazing to actually feel that as educators, as teachers, we are being recognized for the work that we do. Sometimes that gets overlooked, maybe from the classrooms or even in our communities.
Yeah, and it's why we continue to do this. This is our 6th year of Latinx Educator Awards, and it's going to stick around because what you just mentioned, we hear often, which is that educators, we do this work, and you all who are teaching do this work, not looking for recognition, not looking for the accolades, but it's really nice every once in a while to get to kind of just be told, hey, someone's noticing how hard you're working,
Yeah, it's quite impressive. And again, sometimes we don't get too many of those. Sometimes we just get the, hey, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, or why don't you change this, why don't you change that? But seeing this award or this nomination for this award, it means the world. Sometimes actually in a time that a lot of us needed it. So it's really impactful for me at least.
Yeah, well, I'm really proud that we as an organization, can provide that feeling for you. I'm really excited about that. Of course, we're the Latinx Education Collaborative, and we know that representation matters. What has been your experience with representation, and why do you think it matters in schools?
It's been a little bit challenging. Even when I went to higher ed, I don't recall having a Latino Hispanic professor until I started taking Spanish classes for my bachelor's. For my master's, I only have one professor that he just left. And for my doctoral, I didn't see anybody who was Latino. And among all my classes, for master's and doctoral degree, I never seen a student or classmate that was Latino. So it was a huge, a lot of weight on my shoulders, which was like, okay, whatever I do, the way I express myself is going to be transferred to everybody else around me. And when I started teaching in my previous district, I remember there were about 1,600 students. Out of the 1,600 students, 60% were Latinos, and I was only me and the other Spanish teacher, male
Wow.
educators. And it was a huge, huge eye-opening because the students would start looking around like, oh, who is the guy who's wearing a tie? I think he's a teacher. They were trying to connect with me, trying to make eye contact. I remember my first marking period, I purposely made an effort to actually greet them, shake their hands, and started getting to know them. And since then, I became the teacher that always says hi to every single student, no matter what, because I never knew the impact. I remember that year when I left that district, one of the students told me that, hey, I think because you started saying hi to us, we finally felt that we belong to this community. And that completely changed my mind as far as, yes, I need to be a good teacher, a good, with academics, a curriculum, all of that. But I think, especially in our culture, we go with the way that we create a relationship with the students, which
Yeah.
is huge for us as Latino and Hispanic.
No, and I'm glad that you mentioned gender too, right?
Yeah,
As a man in education, that is not the norm, right? And so,
right.
for your male students or students in general to just say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, is that like, are they a
Yeah.
teacher?" That's a whole nother example of representation and why it matters.
Yeah, even in the district that I'm right now, I mean, it's a beautiful community. I have amazing coworkers, but I also have that responsibility to make sure that I hold everybody to high standards. But I always have the extra to my Latino students, like, come on, let's do it. Okay, vamos, vamos, let's do this. We always have that passion, to make sure that we support each other, we rise each other, and we push each other.
Yeah, well, again, going to that representation, just knowing what a lot of our students go through firsthand, right? Like,
Mhm.
through your immigration story, what that was like, and entering a new society, entering a new language, and all of that. And a lot of our students have that experience, right? Or their
Right.
families.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
and that's super meaningful. So, speaking of our Latino students, our mission is to create the conditions necessary for Latino student advancement. Of course, a big part of that work is our support for Latino teachers, because we know that when students have teachers that look like them, they're more likely to graduate high school. But when you think about the right conditions for the advancement of the Latino student, what comes to mind? What are your thoughts?
I remember writing an article when I was doing my master's, and one of the titles that came to my mind was "You cannot be who you cannot see." If you don't see somebody who you can actually look up to, or at least trying to see, like, okay, this person got there, I want to try to get there. And I relate that a lot with my kids, my own kids at home. My son, he always get those questions about, like, why you have brown skin, or why Miles Morales is brown skin, like those little questions that a 5, 6 year old, they don't understand. But once they starting to understand that everybody's different and they feel represented, which is huge, it matters a lot to many students. I also remember his best friend back in the former school. They like Black Panther, the huge representation that was for them, for little girls, Wonder Woman. Like they like to see themselves in in maybe in the TV, in comics, or anything else, but also in the schools. Like they want to see somebody who maybe are walking in the same shoes and trying to go through the same, having the same background and ethnic background. What is it? Throwing the chancleta. What it means that calling the parents, I have to translate. My dad just came from Peru 2 years ago, and sometimes I need to translate for him. But it's like a thing that we always are used to it, but it gets ignored sometimes. So back to the question, like what are the conditions that we need to do is just create more representation also for males of color in the schools, make sure that the students feel represented. They see themselves in somebody that they can, and a trusted adult they can see in the schools.
Yeah, well, schools is I think a lot of our kids' first introduction to mainstream society, right? And so they go from being at home when they're little, and then school is their first introduction into that. And so, for school to be a place where they can feel seen, right, and
Right.
they see themselves represented, and they see men that look like them, and they see people that represent some part of their identity, right? I really like that. I appreciate that answer. Of
Mhm.
course, I'm assuming, and I know the answer to this, that things get really difficult every once in a while, right? Especially when, like you said, you are one of the only, you're advocating for teachers of color, you're advocating for students of color, for Latino students. I imagine things get difficult. So, in those difficult times, what keeps you going?
That's a deep question.
Yeah.
I like to break it down in two for some reason. And the first one, my kids, my own kids at home. Uh, there were so many people when I was back in Peru that helped me out going through the really, really difficult times. And the ones that I remember the most are my teachers back in Peru. Maybe, hopefully, my former teacher, because I know I have him on Facebook. I'm going to give you a shout out, Profe César Bejarano de Perú. I want to say hi to you. Siempre usted me ha ayudado mucho desde el principio cuando mi mami falleció. And he always was there for me, supporting me. Like he knew I wasn't going to remember like the lessons, but he knew that it was something else in me that I was going to share down the road. And thankfully, he's still teaching. So I want to give him a shout out. But coming back
That's
to this is that, yeah, coming back to this is the opportunities I can give to my own kids at home. But then the second part I wanted to share also is what keeps me going are my students, to be honest. And yeah, sometimes I scream a lot that I'm losing my voice, or sometimes we need to roll the eyes because they didn't get what I was trying to explain. I'm like, oh my goodness, not today. But honestly, I have fun. I really love being with my students, learning their stories. And then once I was asked by my former dean of education from Mammoth, Dean Henning, he asked me, "What keeps you going?" Because you have a passion. It's like I want to create a better environment for my own kids at home. So if I try to help these students that they eventually are going to end up working with, maybe their own bosses, I can indirectly help my own children at home. So it's kind of like a cycle, it never ends. But again, I think every single student have a story. Sometimes they don't have somebody at home that they can share the story with. Um, Sometimes they feel different. Sometimes even the skin color, the different languages speak at home. Sometimes makes a huge difference if you understand and see it from a different perspective. So I feel that those are what keeps me going as an educator, as a male in the profession, and as an adult.
Yeah, thank you for that answer. I could tell, right? You come to this work with a lot of passion, a lot of thoughtfulness, and I very much appreciate that. The LEC thanks you for the work that you do, regardless of the results of the Latinx Educator Awards. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are very appreciated. You are seen, and we thank you for the work that you're doing. Any final thoughts before we hop off?
Thank you so much for all the LEC community. Thank you for everybody who has supported me. Thank you for everybody in Peru, at Freehold Township High School, at Mammoth University, and all my family and loved ones. Thank you for everything. It means the world to be here. And thank you, Susana, for spending some time with me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Dr. Villarreal. Please stick around for a couple seconds just so we can chat. LEC community, I hope you enjoyed another edition of a nominee spotlight. You'll see much more the rest of this week, so be on the lookout, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.